Welcome to the Women in Industry podcast. This is series 4 now. My name is Kirsty Davies-Chinnock, and today I'm joined by Bethany Haynes. She's a process and product technologist at the School of Engineering at the University of Warwick. And this is a role she's very recently moved into. So congratulations on your new role, Beth.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really exciting changing roles actually.
I need to ask, because when we first started speaking a few months ago, you were an engineering technician.
Yeah.
So now you're a process and production technologist. Please explain to me what the difference is, because I have not got a clue.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure at the start either. But even sort of throughout the interview process, I was not, to me, it just seemed like another technician role. But actually having been in the role nearly 2 months now, a technician, so I was a technician for like 11 years or so. It was very much technicians would make things for other people. Occasionally you would do a bit of teaching or training, but on the whole, you're making things for other people. Whereas process and production technologist in engineering, we're teaching the students and staff as well how to make things themselves. So rather than just taking the job off them, doing it and giving it back, we're teaching them and training them how to do it. So when they come in next time, they can just get on with it without having to ask for help.
Oh, and technology is a wonderful thing. You froze. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those days. It's one of those days. Cloudflare is down, and I think that's affecting everything. So you're teaching the skills to the students that you work with, but also other members of the faculty. So obviously it's a role that you need the experience to be able to do that. You said you'd got 11 years experience as a technician.
Yeah.
And I know you have had students and apprentices in groups, and you take them through a variety of things that they can do at the University of Warwick in the School of Engineering. What sort of thing are you teaching them?
It's a huge variety. So even my first week here was just taking them all through induction, so the health and safety of the workshop, how to sign in when they get here, how to sign out, how to take out keys, things like that. And then my second week, I think I was helping a student from maths making a tray for her wheelchair so she can use her laptop in lectures, because she just, I don't know, having not been a student at university, I'm not sure how it all works, but all the lecture rooms are in different buildings. She has to go between all these buildings and take all of her stuff with her, and found that actually when she got to a lecture room, it didn't always have accessible furniture, or there might be another student using it. So we've then designed and made a tray for her to put on her wheelchair that then clips on the back. And that was in like my second and third week here, which is brilliant. But I didn't even take a picture of it. I was just so excited to help her. I forgot to take pictures. Then I've been teaching. Last week I was teaching a student how to use a sewing machine. Was it last week? Oh no, for Halloween. I can't keep track of time. So for Halloween, I was teaching a student how to use a sewing machine to make her costume. Then we've got, just before the call, I was teaching a student how to use a laser cutter. Yesterday, I was shredding 3D printed parts, so little things like this, or big things. And then we turn them into like new sheets that we can then laser cut and make new products out of. So yeah, it's just a real variety of stuff that we get to do here.
The two things that came through really strongly there, Beth, for me, was accessibility is something that the School of Engineering is encouraging. And I know we're connected on LinkedIn, so you'll have seen how excited I was with Katie Deakin speaking at my conference earlier this year, and she's a wheelchair user and an engineer. But also the sustainability, shredding it, remaking it, starting again. So you reducing waste, because when you're learning, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to cut it wrong or sew it wrong. And rather than throwing it away and putting stuff to landfill and all that expense, if you're using products that can be reused, that's a great introduction to sustainability to the next generations of engineers, which is what we
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, this was a project I did in my old role when we had work experience students through. I'd set it up so that they could we collected milk bottles, the plastic ones, made sure they were washed, otherwise they stink. But
Yeah.
washed these milk bottles and then we shredded them and put them in the hot press and then we vacuum form them. So taking them through that process of you've already got a product, what do we do with it? Um, Unfortunately, that specific material, so HDPE, wasn't very good for using as a chocolate bar mold. So we had to use a different type of polymer. But then we made chocolate bar molds with them. So they had something to take away with them that they can keep using again and again, and encourages them to still be creative and practical when they get home. And that was such a fun project for me to do. It brought in the sustainability side of what do we do once we've finished with our plastic products. But it also got to show them there's engineering in food as well, and there's all these different areas that you can go down. But I thought it was really nice having like a circular project that we could do with them, and it was a Blue Peter style thing. So if I had an hour with them, which wasn't long enough, we could just make a chocolate bar mold. If I had a whole day, we could do the full process.
It obviously sounds like you really enjoy working with young people. And I know you worked on multiple projects at WMG and helped with their outreach and apprenticeship programs as well. What is it about working with young people that you do particularly enjoy?
I love encouraging them to be practical. Um, when I was in school, it was very much you had to be academic, you had to do your UCAS application, you had to go to university. I didn't have any interest in that. I just wanted to make things. That's all I ever wanted to do. And the technician at my school at the time, he could see that in me and supported me, let me be really creative and make what I wanted. But he also put in the extra effort for me on his lunch breaks so that I could get the academic side, the written reports done. He put in that extra effort. I want to be able to pass that on to other people. And I've seen it with, I've lost count of how many work experience students I've worked with now, but some of them, they seem to have been a little bit forgotten about, or they're the troublemakers at school. But they're actually the ones who are very good practically. Once you get them busy and they're making something and their hands are busy, their minds calm down. And once their brains calm down a little bit, you find out who they really are and what they really enjoy. But when you're being told to sit still in a classroom and pay attention, it's horrible. Even I'm struggling to sit still, like just through this. Like you can't see my hands, but I'm fiddling with my hands off camera. It's for me, it's recognizing the need to be physical and practical, and trying to encourage them that that's okay.
And people learn in so many different
Mhm.
ways. Having a prescriptive read it off the blackboard or the interactive whiteboard or whatever the kids are using nowadays, rather than trying it and seeing if it works. Um, I I think, and it's not practical with a class of 40 kids. I know that, but when they get a bit older, being able to teach them in a way that they learn rather than how you like to teach,
Mhm.
as you so eloquently described there, you're not only going to get the best results for the project and for them as individuals, but you're opening up a pathway for them to go, oh, what if I do that? Oh, and they can sort of, I think, see a future sounds a bit grandiose, but they can see a potential career.
Yeah, or even just progression from the start of their session or their lecture, their lab, whatever module they're on. Just having that physical progression in front of you. You'll know what it's like. You've been working on a document online and it's hard. You can't really see progress. You don't feel like you've done anything all day, but you've been really busy. Whereas when you've made something practical, there's physical progress in front of you, and it just motivates you that bit more and inspires you to keep going. Like, oh, I can see progress. Tomorrow I'm going to come in and do this. And that's what I find in the workshop that I'm in now. We have kids, I say kids, they're all adults, they're all students. They come in just to hang out and do their other work or to make their own projects. But you see one person making something, someone will come and go, oh, that's really cool. Oh, I'm going to make this. And it's like a chain reaction. All of a sudden, everybody's busy and there's such a creative hub going on. It's really cool.
And they're excited about exploring
Mm.
that creative side.
Yeah.
within the disciplines that they work with. I think you've hit upon a really important point there. I sit down and talk for a living. That's what I do generally. And I was always quite academic. However, if I really need to think something through, or if I feel I'm not making progress in something, I go and sweep the factory floor. We've got electric sweepers,
Mhm.
and me sitting at my desk staring out the window, I always feel a bit, who does she think she is? But if I'm going to do something, and literally all I'm doing is walking up and down, trundling this sweeper up and down,
Yeah.
my brain is free to think about other aspects.
Yeah.
And I get more breakthroughs cognitively from doing that than if I'm sitting staring at a screen,
Yeah.
because I'm physically moving. That's really interesting. Be interesting to know if other people do that as well. It's I think
I'd imagine
there's
they do. Maybe a lot of people don't realise they're doing it. Something as simple as going off to make yourself a cup of tea or going for a chat and then coming back. The amount that
going
you
for
can
a
achieve
walk.
in those 5 minutes of having a break, all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I've figured it out. Yeah, it's good to have a break from the screen.
I think so. And you said there that when you were at school you weren't particularly academic, but you've just published an academic paper, and you achieved while you were at WMG your professional registration with IMechE, which is no mean feat. So it sounds like you've really pushed yourself outside your comfort zone to do that. Was that the hardest thing about doing it?
Yes. So the my professional registration, I did that because I was told I couldn't go and do my HNC.
Yeah.
So I don't actually have any official engineering qualifications whatsoever. I have A levels and then a level three diploma, but that's it. So I got my Eng Tech, but the hardest part was doing the written bit about the projects. I had so many projects to choose from, but to make myself sit down and write about them in a way that you only had 500 words per section, I was like, well, I didn't know how to convey it in such a small space, even though it didn't feel like a lot of words. But then you start writing, you're like, how am I going to come up with 500 words and everyone is making a difference? And it took me a very long time, nearly a year, to get this application done. I think most people it probably take a couple of weeks, if that. Um, so it really did, like, it was out of my comfort zone. But then to have the certificate come through the post, I was over the moon. It made me feel proud. I then got that bit of paper that says I can do my job, which I didn't have before. So that was really cool. And the academic paper, so I was one of the authors on it. I've had to print it off and put it next to me because I cannot remember the title of it. It's quite long. Um, I'll just tell you the title in case anyone wants to look it up. And it's the Employability Schemes for Young People in STEM, Reflections on Research Culture and Cross-Faculty Collaboration. So there was 10 of us on this paper. And the project was we had multiple students from different backgrounds and different areas around Coventry came to the university for work experience as part of a wider programme. And then there was a variety of staff supporting them. So we had academic, teaching, research, technical, outreach, and research support. And the students got to experience every single one of those. It wasn't one or the other. It wasn't, oh, you're practical, you go with Beth, you're academic, you go with Helena. They all got to experience the whole thing, which I think is brilliant. Most work experience, you don't get that variety. But then it
It,
also, sorry,
it's going to potentially open doors, even if it's for just one person that
yeah,
they've been told, oh, you can't do that, that's not for you. But to go in and see it in a real life situation, they
mm-hmm.
might not have considered that that was open to them. And now they've
Yeah,
tried it.
yeah. A lot of these students as well, none of their family had ever been to university. They wouldn't, coming onto a university campus isn't something that they would think to do. It's not something they would have done like outside of school. So to then have them come onto campus and be shown that actually this campus is for everybody. I don't have a degree. I never went to university, yet I've made a career like at the university. So they got to work with people like me who are at one end of the spectrum, and then some of the others at the other end with PhDs and working towards professorships, and everybody in between. They've got to see somebody along each step of this process. And I love the fact that I can show them it's okay to be practical. It's okay if this isn't for you. Then I had another student who really was very academic, but also loved the practical side. And I thought they'd make a brilliant researcher, because you have to do all the trial and error, which is actually just research and development. So they have to do all of that. They have to do the tests and the practical bit, but write the reports afterwards. And it was just nice seeing that variety of abilities come through.
Sounds like it would have been incredibly valuable for the young people to see what technicians and technologists bring to the table. And you're also part of the technicians exhibit at the Science Museum in London. But is that about why being a technician is such a rewarding career? And tell me some more about that.
So the Technicians We Make a Difference campaign features technicians from a huge range of areas. So not just engineering. There was biomedical technicians, sound and lighting technicians from theatres and stage. There's wind turbine technicians, just a huge variety. But what I loved about it the most when we went to the exhibit is it's hands-on, it's practical. I got to have a go at other people's jobs,
Oh, wow.
which is brilliant. Absolutely great. And then they have lots of images around of different people doing these jobs. And it's really representative. So there was somebody there who'd got hearing aids and a cochlear implant. There was somebody else in a wheelchair doing their job. And I thought, I don't remember seeing things like that when I was growing up. There wasn't a mix of backgrounds. There wasn't a mix of abilities. It was all kind of one type of person you saw in that industry. So it was fantastic walking around that and having a look and being able to like give it all a go. And then there was a quiz as well, so you could do a quiz and it would bring up the profiles of the technicians, which is where I would appear. Although I answered the questions and I didn't get my own job.
Oh, I love that. What job did you get?
Yeah, I can't even remember. There was because I just kind of I could feel like I can turn my hand to anything. So the questions that were coming up depends what mood I'm in on the day, I think.
Oh, I absolutely love that. That's it. Oh no, you're going to have to go back and do it again and see what you get next time.
I know they're updating my profile for me at the moment because my job changed. So yeah, I'll go back and see it again.
You mentioned there about giving visibility to people with differing abilities, and one of the things that you do is you're a fundraiser for the Brains Trust, as you were diagnosed with a brain tumour a couple of years ago. How do they help people who are diagnosed?
They have quite a lot of there's a lot of online resources. There is a big online community as well with meetups in different areas that they tailor to specific types of tumour. They send out, you have to request, but you can request a brain box, which is what I did when I first discovered the charity. And all the information in the brain box is tailored to you, to your type of tumour, which is brilliant because my tumour is benign. And so it's not life-threatening. At the moment, it's not having a big impact, physical impact on my life. But then a friend of mine, his brother's brain tumour was life-threatening. So I wouldn't necessarily need or want all that information about end-of-life care. However, for my friend, that was really important. He didn't pass that on to his brother because it just wasn't needed. That was more important for him to be able to learn, okay, this is the next step, this is what I need to do. But then also in the brain box, you get, I should have bought it for this, but a little stress brain, a little squishy brain, which is brilliant. It's so much fun. And then things like tea bags, biscuits, a hat, or just some little fun things to kind of brighten your day as much as possible when you've had to request one. Yeah, they're fantastic. We had I held a quiz night and cake sale fundraiser in October for them, and including gift aid, we raised £2,398 for them,
Wow.
which is incredible because I've not had to pay for any of the support I've received from them. You can have coaching sessions, counselling, um, anyone can phone them up and ask for support. But for them to, for example, to send out a brain box to somebody, it costs £40. But you, as a patient, you don't have to pay for that. So it feels really good to be able to be in a position to put on events, to raise all this money, so we can keep helping other people that need it.
And helping other people that need it is um, something that um, charities desperately need, and that they're so grateful for, because it can, it can mean that they can reach more people. And I think we're all a bit insular on different physical or mental or cognitive problems until it affects us or someone in our immediate circle. It's almost out of sight, out of
Yeah,
mind,
yeah,
um, because we can't help everybody.
no,
Um, and I think being able to find them and have support from them is absolutely fantastic. And when we pop this podcast out, we'll put a link to their website. And if anyone would
oh,
like to
that's
go
good.
on, make a donation, that would
Hmm.
be fantastic. I'm sure they
Yeah,
can use it. Um, and it's great to hear that your tumour is benign. And obviously, you told me about it. I've got permission to
hmm,
mention it.
yeah,
Um, and your fundraising there is great, absolutely inspiring. Working with young people, inspiring them. And then just to throw it in there as well, you're also the head coach for the women's rugby team, the Coventry Bears.
yeah,
So you're coaching as well. So
yeah.
how did you get into rugby? It's normally roller derby.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to play rugby. My dad played it, my brothers always played it, but it was very much, again, it was a men's thing. Like, it wasn't something for women to do. So growing up, I didn't really get to see any women playing rugby. So I went and played softball instead. And I was working at a school at the time, and I thought, yeah, I'd love to play rugby, but I don't want to turn up to work on a Monday covered in bruises. No one's going to think, oh, Miss played rugby at the weekend. So I waited until I left working in education, and there were some sessions on in my local park run by Coventry Bears. Um, and it was just about getting, I think it's part of This Girl Can, part of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
uh, campaign. So I had a go at those sessions, thoroughly enjoyed it. James, who was leading the sessions, was brilliant fun. And he was like, oh, Beth, we do touch rugby at the sports centre on this day. You should come down. I think you'd be good at it. So then I went and played touch rugby. I thought, this is brilliant. I get my rugby fix without the physicality of it. Um, and then it just got a little bit boring. So then I went and played tag rugby. Somebody else there was like, oh, you should come play tag rugby. We do that here. Um, Tag rugby was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I even got to represent the Midlands at national level in
Oh,
London.
wow.
We didn't do very well, but I had a great time.
That's all that
They've now,
matters.
yeah. And then I found I was coaching rugby at the school I worked at, and the guy from the RFU was like, "Oh, have you ever thought about it?" And I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "Look, this is your local club. They have a women's team. This is the person to speak to." And off I went, and I absolutely loved it. I wish I'd done it sooner. I wish I hadn't waited till I was 25 to start playing rugby. So I played at Coventry Welsh ladies for 7 years, up until October last year when I did my MCL, and it kind of has put a stop to my rugby career. But what is fantastic is 3 years ago I started playing for Coventry Bears, which is rugby league, so very much more a northern sport than southern, but we're trying to make a presence for it down here. So I captained them for the first 2 seasons, and then last season I became their head coach. It was fantastic. It was really weird being on the other side of it, and it was so hard being on the sideline and not being able to play. But then seeing the progression from players, we had players who'd never touched a rugby ball before. Some of these women are, I won't say their ages, but they're not in their 20s anymore. And they were absolutely smashing it. They were brilliant. They were so good. And it's such a nice sense of community. I've not found this anywhere else. When you're on the rugby pitch, you have rugby union, you've got 15, there's 15 players, rugby league, there's 13. You've got that group of people around you, and no matter what happens, they are all there to look out for you. And that's the same off the pitch as well. The support I had from my teammates with my brain tumor diagnosis was unreal. And then this is the culture that I want in Coventry Bears Women's, and I feel like we've really achieved that. Everyone has said they've enjoyed it. It doesn't matter. We did pretty well, to be fair, with scores. We didn't lose every game, but they all said they've had way more fun. There's no pressure. I don't put pressure on them to win. Of course, I'd like to win. We all wanted to win, but it doesn't do you any favors to have somebody screaming at you from the sidelines and telling you you've got to put your body on the line. You don't. You're here with a group of mates. Let's go and have some fun, and then have a beer afterwards and just make the most of it. So it feels like it's been a long time in the rugby world, but I also feel like I'm only just getting started with it as well. I'm excited to see where the coaching takes me.
I think moving into coaching, it doesn't suit everyone. And being able to switch from being a player to being a coach is a specific skill in itself.
Yeah.
A fun fact, I was 43, which was over 10 years ago, gosh, when I started playing roller derby. And
Yeah.
you're talking about the bruises.
Yeah.
I once had a meeting with the vice president of Hudson's Yard in New York, who got the red eye in to talk to me. I consulted on the vessel, which is like the beehive, the big sculpture. And the MD of the Spanish fabrication company had come over, and I was picking them both up at Birmingham Airport. And it was really hot, and I was in a short, and I'd been braced all weekend, so all I had was handprints up my arms.
It's not a good look, is it, really?
2018 was the year I was broken. I broke my arm at home, and then I went back to skating. I was teaching the rookies, and I fell over my own foot and broke my ankle. It was just like,
Oh no.
It's but a lot of skaters in roller derby have skater names. So they all call me Red because I was Rogue Red. But I once was walking through an airport, or was it Grand Central? It might have been a train station. And I saw two of my teammates ahead called Violet Attack and Calamity Jane. So I just screamed, attack, kill.
Probably not the best thing to shout, is it?
It was Simone. I was just like, I shouldn't have done that. So are you still working with Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme now as well?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I did my own Duke of Edinburgh Awards from when I was 14 through to 18ish. So I've got my bronze, silver and gold. And when I was 17, so for gold you have to do a year's worth of voluntary work. And for that I became a young leader to then help the ones in the lower levels. And I never left. So I started being a young leader at 17, and I'm now 31, and I'm still a leader. And when we're not on, when it's school holidays, I'm like, I don't know what to do on my Friday nights. It feels really weird, but I absolutely love it. Again, it's that sense of passing on like what I've learned and encouraging the participants to be practical, to be outdoorsy, to embrace learning new skills and going out of their comfort zones. Yeah, it's really cool.
I have fond memories of doing my Duke of Edinburgh.
Good.
Less fond memories of the picture that I think they were showing I was doing silver, so it would have been the next cohort of bronze, on how not to pack your rucksack, which was me walking through. It was just like a 90-degree angle. It was not good.
Every time. We have... So we're an open centre. A lot of DV groups now are based in schools, but we're an open centre, which means anybody in Coventry of the right age can come to us. So we do it on a Friday night, so they're not sat in school. And then we teach them, we do all the training for the expedition, so navigation, cooking, campcraft, countryside code. And part of campcraft is how to pack your bag. It does not matter how many times you say it. Somebody won't listen. Somebody's
That
sleeping
was
bag
me.
gets wet. Somebody's clothes get wet. They manage to rip the tent because they've put it on the outside of their bag. You can say it till you're blue in the face. It doesn't always go in. So every year we have a couple of participants like that with a lopsided bag and going, oh, I've got one really sore shoulder. I wonder why that is.
It's but it's amazing what you do when you're a teenager and you're being able to learn these new skills and go out into it's the UK, specifically the West Midlands. The great
Yeah,
outdoors isn't exactly, Mount Everest, but it's learning how to cope with the
yeah,
consequences. We did
yeah.
canoeing one year.
Oh, that's cool.
It was so good. And I took spare clothes every
Mm.
lesson. And then after about 6, I've not fallen in, so I didn't bother. Um,
Guarantee that was when you fell in.
yeah, capsized. And luckily, a very nice guy in the group, I think we were about 15, gave me his jeans and T-shirt. And it was about a 10-minute walk to my parents' house.
Yeah.
And my mum opened the door to me in like this 6-foot guy's rolled up clothes. And he just walked to my house wearing a pair of boxer shorts.
Oh, that must have been quite the image, but how
It was
sweet.
just, and my mum just opened the door and went, would you all like a cup of tea? But you do have such fond memories of
Mhm.
learning these skills, getting it
Yeah.
wrong, having that
Mm.
anecdote and that story.
Yeah.
I think the more that young people, particularly, it's such an online world now for
Oh,
them.
definitely. Mm.
It's really going to give them an awful lot of social skills
Yeah.
that I took for granted, sort of growing up in the 70s, because none of this
Yeah.
existed.
Yeah, that was the same when I was doing my DB. Social media wasn't really a thing. You'd leave your phone at home for the weekend and it wasn't the end of the world. Um, so gold level, they're allowed to take the phones with them. We just encourage them to have them on airplane mode. The whole point of their expedition is that feeling of isolation
Yeah,
and being on your own and being with your team. The leaders will always know where you are. We've got different ways of sort of tracking them as they go along the routes, but it's just having that isolation and switching off from social media because so the youngest participants we have are 14, the oldest will be like early 20s, and it's been really obvious over the last few years especially the negative impacts of social media and constantly being on your phone is having. The attention span, for one thing, from constantly scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, you get a couple of seconds, you move on to the next thing. Then when you're trying to get, I imagine teachers have similar in school, you're trying to get people to focus for an hour or more. It's nearly impossible. So I think it is really important for not just kids, but adults as well, to have that downtime away from phones, away from technology and the internet. And that's what I love about at the start of the week, they'll be really stressed, they'll be really anxious. By the end of it, they're like, oh, I didn't even think about my phone today. I didn't even, like, I forgot that I'd got it. And then you start to see their real personality rather than the one that they've tried to make for online.
yeah.
And yeah, I think it's really important to try and make the kids see that actually who they are without the phone.
That they're more than a face in a little rectangle.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're recording this in November. It'll go out
Mhm.
end of the month, early December. I've lost track of where we are. And you mentioned that you adore wooden toys
Mhm.
at the Christmas markets.
Yeah,
And that's one of the reasons you sort of started making things when you were at home at college.
yeah,
Um, when I was in junior school, I loved Blue Peter, and I made a bedroom with chest of drawers made out of matchboxes. It even had a light that came on. I didn't play with dolls. I liked
yeah,
creating the environment.
yeah.
What's the thing that you look back on and go, when I made that, I knew I was going to be a technician of some sort?
So I didn't really get the chance to like make anything until I was in secondary school. But it was from like the age of 7 that I knew I wanted to be a carpenter joiner. Um, and I was kind of told, oh, that's a man's thing, you can't really do it, which when I'm told I can't do something, it just makes me want to do even more. But then I got to secondary school and was able to, we made like phone holders, photo frames, things like that. I absolutely loved it. I was one of the kids that would spend their spare time in the workshop, which you get teased by the people, but I didn't care. That was my happy place, and it still is. Um, but it's really hard to pick one thing. I don't know. I just loved creating. That was when like my brain slows down, and I struggle to draw. I'm not very artistic in that way. But by physically making something, that means I can get the idea from my head into reality.
Yeah.
I can't, I can do rough sketches, and I've since learned how to do technical drawings. So I can now do it, but I've always struggled with it. I'd much rather just start making it and see what happens. But I
You
think,
never know what's going to turn out at
yeah,
the end, do you?
no,
And your thought process is going to learn
hmm
new things as you need to invent what happens to create
yeah,
what you want next.
yeah. I think wood turning is the best example with that for me, and metal turning. Um, Most people will draw out a sketch and work out dimensions. I just start turning and it happens. And if it goes wrong, I'll turn it into something else. It's not the end of the world. Probably why I couldn't be a production turner, but I'll have fun while I'm doing it.
As long as you're having fun, that's all that
Yeah.
matters. Finally, Beth, what's the best advice you've ever received?
So there's two bits. The first bit of advice that I ever received, and bless her, was my granny telling me, no, you can't do that. That's a man's job. And again, it just inspired me to try harder. And as soon as she realised just how good I was at this sort of stuff, I became her handyman, and I loved it. I got paid in cake, so it was brilliant.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and then the other thing was be the person you needed when you were younger.
Mm.
I think I've heard that in quite a few places now, and it really does hit home. And it makes me think I think that's what I love about my new job is with the students coming through. A lot of them have moved away from home for the first time, and they just need that bit of reassurance or they need that support. And I think back to me when I was in secondary school. I needed that person who could see my practical ability, but I also needed someone who'd be able to listen to me or joke with me. And I think that's what's really good about this job here is we have the students come in and I can support them in the ways that they need without really having to think about it now. It's just second nature.
Oh, thank you so much, Beth. We've gone over time slightly,
Sorry.
so it's like it'll be fine.
Yeah.
That was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing what you've achieved so far with us.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.